Okay, great.
Yep, you're all good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Alrighty, so it is now 5:03, so we'll call this meeting to order. So first, I'm just going to read the land acknowledgement quickly before we start. So the Halifax Region Municipality is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. The municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaty signed in this territory and recognize that we are all treaty people. So we'll do a quick roll call. So Abraham.
Here.
Good to see you. Glad you could join us. Cyril. Great. James.
Here.
Hi, nice to see you. Jane. Here, okay. Crystal. Okay. Solomon. Stacy. Truly. Zoya. Here. Great. And Carter sent their regrets, so not going to be here tonight.
Also, Jane just joined the meeting. Sorry. She just got here.
Perfect. Thanks.
No problem.
Hi, Jane. You didn't miss anything yet. Don't worry. So we're just going to do a quick check-in. I guess if you can just state your name, your pronouns, and why don't we do, we have a question here. If you were to describe your mood today as a color, what color would that be? So kind of what's going on in your day, how's your day been, and how would you describe it? So I'll go first. And let's see, my day has been blue, I guess, pretty relaxed, not too busy at work today. So it's been a chill day. So blue, I think, is the right color for that. And my background's blue, so very fitting, I feel like. I'm going to pass it off to Zoya.
Sure. Hi, I'm Zoya, pronouns she, her. My day's been pretty relaxed so far. I woke up really late. I think I'd give myself a green. Should I pass it on? Okay, James, you can go next.
My name's James. My pronouns are he, him. And I think the color I pick would also be green. I'll pass it to Abraham.
My name's Abraham. My pronouns are he and him. I would say my color has been blue. It's been pretty chill, relaxed. I haven't really done anything. It's like just enjoying the day. And I'll pass it off to Jane.
Hi, my name is Jane. My pronouns are she, her. And I think my color would probably be orange. It's like a fun color. Like I had a fun day, but I also started off by taking my last exam and the one I was like the most nervous about. So definitely started off with like a bang. Oh, and I'll pass it off to Cyril.
Oh, you're on mute there.
Why don't we come back to him and then someone else can go while Cyril gets his audio taken care of.
Sure. Is anyone else? Did we miss anyone? I think that was it. Becca, would you like to go? Or Annie? Or anyone else? Okay. So since we have quorum, I'm going to jump right in so we can, does anyone need to leave early or are we good to just stay good for the time? Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. So, Okay, so first thing we have is approval of the minutes. So I'm going to call for a motion to approve the minutes of the May 19th, 2022 Youth Advisory Committee meeting. So this requires a mover and a seconder. So can I get someone to move this, please?
I'll move it if you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Good testing. Would you like to go ahead and do your little introduction as well?
Yes. So my name is Cyril. So it's pronounced he and him. And I would say my color for today is yellow, just because we actually have sun today for once. And although I was working inside most of the day, so I didn't really enjoy it very much. But
Great. Thank you. So we have a mover. Can we have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Great. Thank you, Abraham. Alrighty. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And anyone opposed? Great. Alrighty. So the motion has carried. Great. So now we're going to move on to the approval of the order of business and approval of additions and delegations. So are there any requests for additions, delegations, or changes to the order of business for the agenda for tonight?
Hey everyone, nice to see you all. There were no requests for additions or deletions on today's agenda.
Great. Thank you, Annie. Okay. Okay, so great. So we're just going to, so I'm going to call for the motion to approve the order of business now. So for this, once again, I'll need a mover and a seconder.
I'll move.
Great. Thank you. And can I get someone to second?
I'll second.
Great. And who was that? Sorry.
Zoya, I think my video
Okay.
is glitchy.
Okay. No, great. Sorry, I just didn't see the green highlight around your name. Perfect. Okay, so Zoya second that. Great. Thank you. Alrighty. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Great. Anyone opposed? Wonderful. Okay, so that's moved on. Okay, so that motion has carried. Sorry, that's the correct wording. Alrighty, so do any members have any conflict for this evening? I don't think we don't have a presentation or anything coming on this evening, so. Okay, great. If you do, for future reference, you would just kind of mute yourself and still be able to be on the call, from my understanding. You just have to mute yourself if you do have a conflict of interest, and just declare it. Let us know that there's a conflict of interest beginning. Okay, great. So moving along to the meeting schedule now. So we have a draft of the meeting schedule. We haven't approved any dates for the next meetings. We're going to ask, are there any changes that anyone would like to make to the meeting schedule, or is everyone okay with that? Good. Okay, great. So if there are no changes to the schedule, I'll need I'm going to put forward a motion that we approve the schedule that's presented, that was sent out. Okay, so that the Youth Advisory Committee approved the 2022 meeting schedule as presented. So this requires a mover and seconder.
I'll move.
Great, thank you. And can I get someone to second that as well?
I'll second.
Great, thank you, Jane. Alrighty. And so all those in favor say aye.
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 Great, anyone opposed? Wonderful. All right, so that motion has carried as well. So that is our schedule is set now for 2022 for the rest of our meetings. Great. Okay, so now that we've got that kind of drier stuff out of the way, next we have the work plan discussion. and approval, because we have quorum tonight, so we can actually approve that and get that moving forward. So I'm going to ask Annie or Becca, whoever's jumping in there, to chat a bit about the work plan before we move forward.
Sure. I can start off, and then Becca, if there's anything that you want to supplement, like please do go ahead. It's been a few meetings since the work plan was discussed, so maybe I'll just do like kind of a quick refresher of everything. So basically, the folks that were at the work plan session, kind of did like a brainstorm that was facilitated by Becca in the Google Jamboard. And what I have done and what was distributed to the members is kind of just like put it in the boxes that the HRM needs to kind of like reference back for like what the committee wants to do, where your interest lies, and how it aligns with like the terms of reference. So I think maybe I'll share my screen so that everybody can see the work plan doc. And I'll just zoom in a little bit. Is that okay for everybody size-wise? Awesome. Okay, great. So, so basically, I just kind of made sure that everything that was kind of discussed, Becca and I worked together to try to figure out how we could align it with the terms of reference with other policies that the HRM has going on that are impacting youth, so that, folks on the committee could, kind of continue learning about some of the initiatives that the HRM is working on. Kind of like get folks from within the HRM and outside of the HRM to come and speak at the committee about that. And then from there, as you build your kind of understanding of how everything's working together, maybe we can start getting into the nitty gritty of, making recommendations for like changes to policies through the executive standing committee. And we can kind of start digging in there. So I kind of, it's been laid out by theme based on the discussion that was had back in April, I believe. So I've outlined it in a few different priorities. So the first one is the youth perspective and engagement on HRM social policy priorities, with emphasis on access to food insecurity and housing. And this is just kind of me, kind of getting the interest that the committee had expressed around access to housing for youth and food insecurity within the HRM into a policy that currently exists within the HRM, so that Becca and I can kind of, know who to reach out to for staff to like give the committee some more information. So this is like, it's all kind of like laid out this way with, the aligning of the terms of reference, like you folks don't need to worry about that. The person or group responsible is just kind of, all committee members at large for kind of each of these items to continue to move through them through the rest of the this year and next year for everybody's kind of committee terms. And then identifying resources is something that we can, talk a little bit more about today. And I think Ellen kind of wanted to see where people's minds are for organizations that you would like to hear from. But kind of like high level would be, expertise from committee members. If anybody, is kind of involved in access to housing or like food insecurity within the HRM, you can bring your expertise here to share with the committee through like presentations or, like connecting other organizations like with the committee, like through Becca and I. Outlined as staff members of the HRM. So for instance, there's a few different business units that we thought would be good to kind of like tap into on this on these topics in particular. So there's a government relations and external affairs office that deals with, different levels of government, both in Nova Scotia and, across the country. There is like Parks and Recreation, there's community developers and folks from the Diversity and Inclusion Office as well. And then I've also kind of outlined for this one, like community organizations with specialized knowledge around food security and housing as well. So those are some of kind of like the high level resources that Becca and I will kind of like pull from, as long as the committee is good with that. But during the discussion, if there are like other organizations or other like places that you'd like to hear from, like please let me know and I can kind of be updating and in real time. The time frame, I know that this is like a weird like point of the year, you know, it's July, so we have until, you know, the end of this year to kind of get some stuff addressed, but there's no reason that, you know, when we start, you know, 2023 with like you as all like committee members, that we can revisit, okay, like what didn't we get to touch on in the past year that we want to carry over? Like, what did we learn that we want to hone in on a little bit differently? Like, there's definitely, you know, opportunity to expand it in the year ahead. So it's not a ton of pressure to, you know, get everything done before the end of this year, but just, you know, allows us to kind of make sure that you're speaking with the folks that you want to. And then the desired outcome, this is very much like open for discussion, but just kind of an example I put forward here would be to invite business units and organizations in the HRM working in the area to present to the committee, compile information, and pass recommendations along to executive standing committee. So that's like one option. And then kind of, you know, what I thought that I was like hearing as I was listening to the video again is that, you know, like this committee is in the process of really wanting to understand what's available within the HRM, like know what's there, like make suggestions and kind of, you know, continue to work from there. So it's also kind of like a resourcing piece around your knowledge base. So wanting to learn about like what's available for issues around food security and housing in the HRM, so that you can, you know, effectively perform your role as an advisory committee. You can advise the executive standing committee on changes that you'd like to see, or you know, a whole host of things there. And then performance indicators. This might need like a little bit of work as well, but it can also be like an ongoing piece that is revisited throughout the year, where committee members receive like X number of presentations. Like this can be kind of like revisited at the end of the year too, if like folks just want to like say like, okay, well, like here's what we put together and here's what ended up happening. So it can be like something that can be a bit of a living document for the group as well. But yeah, so, you know, X amount of presentations received, information gathered from like X, you know, amount of places, and passed along to executive standing committee through a report. And then another example could be, you know, it's within the youth advisory committee's terms of reference to be able to host a town hall. And, you know, if any of these kind of categories would be something that you'd be interested in hosting a town hall on, we can certainly have the discussion about what that could look like either like this year or like going into next year, because town halls, you know, even though sometimes it's just like one kind of event, they do take quite a bit of planning to make sure that, you know, the message gets out, everybody's getting out of it what they need, what they would like to. So those are, you know, a couple of different ways that we can target for the year. And then maybe before I go into the next kind of priorities, I can hand it over to Becca if there's anything you wanted to mention there.
Yeah, thanks, Annie. I just wanted to jump in to talk kind of about, in the past, we've normally done a youth summit. So like a larger event, I mean, it could be a forum, a town hall, but like Annie said, it does take a lot of planning. So I do want to flag that we'll have to decide on a date for that sooner than later. Yeah, normally we do it in April. So if that's the case, I guess on one of the agendas, we'd have to start planning for some of those things. But yeah, I just want to flag that normally it is in April, but that is up to you folks.
Awesome. Thank you, Becca. Great. So I'll just go through the other two kind of priorities that were outlined, and I won't go into as much detail about, you know, the desired outcome and stuff, because really it's a pretty similar kind of summary on those other pieces. But the second priority that the committee outlined was around climate action. So advising the Executive Standing Committee on how to continually incorporate youth from all races, genders, and ability levels in Halifax, which is Halifax's climate action plan. So, that in particular is a really huge, piece of legislation and policy on behalf of the HRM to address climate change adaptation and mitigation. So can definitely get some folks in here to chat with the committee about, just how far reaching that plan is. And then I, kind of kept the same kind of options for, what could be filled in here. And then on priority 3 was supporting youth self-reliance. So raising awareness about and advocating for sustainable and affordable resources for youth in the HRM, especially when transitioning to self-reliance. So I think that this in particular is that there are several programs within the HRM that could be it can inform youth self-reliance and can help support folks as they're transitioning from, maybe living at home to living on their own for the first time. And so just, kind of the same kind of piece that I had outlined for the other options around, kind of doing that information gathering to see, what currently exists. So that's kind of a summary of what Becca and I worked on together to kind of, fit everything from that initial work plan discussion into a draft work plan. And the hope would be today that, there's some conversation about, pulling these out a little bit more in terms of, if there's particular organizations or people you'd like to hear from. And then if folks are feeling comfortable with the way that it looks at the end of the meeting, then the committee could put a motion forward to approve it as it is right now. And then it would go on to Executive Standing Committee so that they can take a peek as well. So I'm not sure, but I'll turn it back over to our chair. And Ellen, I'm not sure if you'd prefer that I kind of keep the work plan open as folks are kind of chatting it. Okay, cool. I will do that. And great. So I'll just stop talking now and give the floor back over to you. And I'll be here to kind of fill in things as you're discussing it.
Perfect. Great. Thanks so much, Annie. Becca, before I jump in, is there anything else you want to add there?
No, that's great. I think she covered it well. I don't think we need to get into the details of the performance outcomes right now, but we'll look at that at a later date. That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you. So how does everyone feel about this work plan? Maybe we can kind of just go through. I know one thing that I wanted to bring up about the work plan that we had a meeting last time with public safety from HRM, and they had a great presentation and we had a great chat with them. And I sent them an email just to say thank you for your presentation, and they wanted to collaborate with us. It was kind of their main part of their meeting as well. So maybe we want to add that in. Maybe we can fit that in with priority number 1 and kind of put something in around public safety if that's something everyone else is interested in. I know that's my personal interest, and so I might just be speaking for myself. So I do want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And we'd be happy to resend out the presentation that they had before if you want to take another look at it. Or get in touch with them or have them come back and we can chat more about what the collaboration would look like and things like that. But I think it would probably fit pretty nicely in with priority 1. But yeah, does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
That seems good. If we could maybe just send out the PowerPoint, just at no rush, but just at any point, just we could all take a quick look at it. But it seems like a good idea, and I don't see anything, it'd be just interesting to see with them what they view kind of what they picture as in terms of what the collaboration would be. But I think it's a good idea to reach out to them.
Yeah, they left it pretty broad. They didn't have any specific ideas about collaboration. So I think if we had something that we were like, oh, we could do this or pull them into this or create an idea or if we wanted to pull them into our town hall or youth summit or something like that as well, I think that would be a great way to. But I think they were very open to working with us. I'm very happy to hear any of our feedback. So yeah, anyone else?
This is just an idea, and it all obviously depends on what they're thinking about in terms of collaboration, but it could also fit well into the climate action category, I think, as well, in terms of public safety being like the climate crisis being a safety issue as well. If we want just to like open the floor to that, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd be interested to know how much they work with the climate, like Health Act, and how much they actually work with them. I don't know. I didn't ask that question last time. So yeah, that's a good point. Great. Thanks, Jane. Any other thoughts?
I had a thought about also for the first priorities. I thought it might be interesting to see to have like Farmers Market of Nova Scotia come in, because I remember when we first kind of brought up priority one, I kind of mentioned that they had a like a market bucks program where they were giving out basically coupons almost to the farmers markets in Nova Scotia to low income families. I think it could be interesting to have the Nova Scotia Farmers Market Organization come and just kind of give a talk on that and see if it was how it went basically.
Yeah, awesome. I wasn't there for the work plan meeting, unfortunately. So yeah, if there's anything else that you guys think of that isn't that an organization you talked about specifically or anything like that, about any of the priorities, really, we can add those in now, or I mean, we're also welcome to go away and do our own research and bring that back with us, or send it off to Annie or Becca or myself. Yeah, any other organizations you guys can think off the top of your head that you would like to bring in about this organization that you know of at the moment? Or it could be one person. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
In terms of climate action, it might be interesting to talk with the Ecology Action Center in Halifax, if that's something that we're able to do. I'm part of Climate Strike Halifax, like the youth group, and we've done a little bit of work with Ecology Action Center, and they're very interested in working with youth from what I've done with them.
Awesome. Sounds great. Abraham, Zoya, either one of you guys have anything else to add to our plan so far?
Sure. I remember for our planning Zoom meeting that we had, we talked about mental health and like some implications of that on youth. And I remember I volunteered with the Mental Health Association of Nova Scotia. So maybe we could, I don't know much about what it is they do for youth specifically, but I feel like if we could do a collaboration and see what they do have in place, that might be interesting. Because I know,
sorry, go ahead.
I know that they've done some talks at schools and done some presentations, so maybe if they could kind of share that with us as well.
Yeah, that's great. Like how they present to youth and what ways there are for reach to youth to reach out to them and things like that. That's a great idea. Yeah, and I think Annie's putting that in priority 3, and I think that fits perfectly in there. So great. Anything else?
Another thing too could be, I know there's the African Cultural Center here. I was there for a few months ago. They had an event where it's more centered around health in African Nova Scotian communities here. And I know that they had a lot of people come from different organizations there to kind of give talks on that. So I think it could be interesting to maybe reach out to them and see if see just their input or their perspective on kind of, could it be housing or mental health issues or just anything just see from their perspective.
And can I ask just a point of clarification, Chair, if that's okay?
Yes, of course.
Could you repeat the organization name? I'm so sorry.
The one I just mentioned?
Yeah.
Yes, the African Cultural Center.
Okay, great. Okay, just wanted to make sure I had the right one. Thank you.
No worries.
Great. Awesome. Well, that's a great start on organizing already. Yeah. Anything else, Abraham? Do you have anything to add? Any thoughts?
Well, so far, I like the idea we have and the way we incorporating different organizations to help us, because I feel like matters like this need to be discussed and like talked about, and I like the way we're organizing them and having all these different ideas.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I totally agree. I think we should have lots of different perspectives and ideas when talking about these issues. Great. Any other final thoughts or organizations you can think of right now? We're not like closing the door on organizations or anything like that, or a specific individual. If you guys have an idea about someone who is very knowledgeable in one of these areas, we can bring in just one person. So yeah, any other final thoughts? Are we ready to approve work plan?
Yes, sorry, I was trying to, I was registered as a attendee, so I wasn't able to say anything, but I'm just thinking, is there any way collaborating with like universities, especially the Dow Student Union? Because I feel like this is something they would be interested in. I do know, I used to work there, so I do know the president if you need me to like send you her email or something, but I think that would be a good organization.
Yeah, great. Sorry there, Crystal. I didn't see you join there. Yeah, no, that's a great suggestion. So we'll add that in, and Annie, maybe if she's having trouble reaching out to someone, she can reach out to you for that contact information to connect. Great. Yeah. Sorry. Any other thoughts on the other topics or priorities there, Crystal?
Not yet. Not yet right now, but I will share.
Okay, great. And if you wouldn't mind, we'll just go back up to the top and just kind of run through it one more time, just to make sure we're all good. Yeah, I guess so. Just reviewing the priorities, super quick, youth perspectives and engagement on HRM's social quality priorities. Then we're adding in the public safety office then. That's with HRM. I know we have a couple, we have a list of resources there already from within HRM that we can call upon. Yeah, so I think those would be great. And we can also discuss this further about any other witnesses or any other ideas that come forward. So we'll go to next, number 2, climate action. So we've added in a public safety office and the Ecology Action Center, but we're also open to anyone else, of course, and specifically around focusing on the Halifax Climate Change Plan. And then our final is around supporting youth self-reliance. So we're gonna talk about mental health and also bring in maybe some university student unions, which I really like the idea to bring that in as well. So perfect. Any other final thoughts before we go through to approve this?
Oh, sorry, just one more addition. For the climate change, I know the Dalhousie Sustainability Society would be someone to get in contact with. Again, if you need assistance, I know the person who is on the sustainability, the chair of that committee. So you just let me know.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Alrighty. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna, oh shoot. Okay, so I'm going to call the motion now. So I'm going to call that the 2022 work plan of the Youth Advisory Committee be approved and forwarded to the Executive Standing Committee. So for that, I'm going to require a mover and seconder.
I'll move.
Great, thank you, Jane. Can I get a seconder?
I'll second.
Great, thank you, Abraham. Alrighty, so all those in favor say aye.
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 Great, or raise your hand,
Aye.
sorry, yeah. Great, thank you. Anyone opposed? Wonderful. Alrighty, so that motion has carried. So the work plan is now officially carried. Woohoo! Very exciting. Okay, so go ahead, Annie.
Thank you very much, Ellen, and thank you to all of the committee members for your input as well. Like the work plan is really what informs like how Becca and I get the people in front of you that you want to hear from. So thank you so much for your input and for all of your ideas. And I'm really excited to work with all of you to continue to like learn and impact things together. So just in terms of, like kind of how we get people to the committee. So for folks that said that you might have like a contact somewhere, Becca and I work together to kind of populate the agendas for each of the meetings, and there are some rules like within the HRM about kind of like best practices around how many presentations should maybe be at one committee at once and things like that. So if you have contacts for any of the organizations that you've identified today and you want to send them along to both Becca and myself, that would be very much appreciated. And then Becca and I can, undertake reaching out to those organizations to kind of get them in front of you. And then Becca and I would kind of work with the chair and vice chair to kind of, prioritize like maybe some of the requests that we're getting so that, we have full agendas for the rest of this year moving into next year. So if anybody has any questions about that, please feel free to let me know now or reach out after. But yeah, the best way to kind of make sure that folks are getting in front of this committee is to kind of send it all mine and Becca's way. But like I said, thank you so much for your work on the work plan, and excited to get some folks in front of the committee.
Thanks, Annie. So I just wanted to maybe if we can, as we go along and find another organization that we think we should add, if we could have a document or something that we can share with everyone. So as it gets updated or things like that, so there's no overlap, but also when we reach out to you, everyone else knows that that organization has been requested. Anyone have any other thoughts on that? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Do we think it's necessary? Yeah? Okay. Great. Perfect. Yeah. If not right away or anything like that, but just as we go along, so we're in the loop with that as well. Perfect. Thank you. So I guess back to Annie. If there are any petitions, if we've received any.
Thank you, Chair. There was no correspondence or petitions received for today's meeting.
Okay. Great, thank you. And so since there's no information or reports or discussion or anything else on the agenda, next thing we come to is, so the next meeting, because we approved our meeting schedule, will be on July 21st, 2022. And so I guess we'll just do a quick checkout. So I guess we'll just go around. How do we think the committee went? Hopefully so much, Abraham. Anyone else have anything to add? Okay, well, I will share. I am really happy we got all of those, like the work plan approved and meeting approved and meeting schedule, approved. Just that we had quorum today was really nice to see lots of people here. And hopefully there'll be more people in person at the next meeting. But yeah, I'm really happy we got the work plan done so that we can focus on those presentations and reach out to those organizations and really get started on hearing what they have to say. Yeah, any other final thoughts for today?
Do we know if the next meeting is going to be Zoom or in person, or is that still kind of undetermined?
In person.
Okay,
it will be in
sounds
person.
good.
Okay, great. Thank you. And it will be at the Powerhouse for sure then, or?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, great.
If that works for everyone, if you'd rather be in a different space, then we could find a different space, but we have quick access to the Powerhouse, so.
Yeah, how does everyone feel about the Powerhouse? Is that a okay location to get to for people? Great, thanks, Crystal. Seeing your comment there. Anyone else have any thoughts on the powerhouse, if it works or not? Okay, great. I'm going to take silence as a good, as it works. Yeah, so I guess now we will adjourn the meeting unless anyone has any other final thoughts. Great. Okay, so this requires a mover.
I'll move.
Great. Thank you. And yeah, so the meeting is adjourned at 5:44 p.m. So great. Thanks so much, everyone. And yeah.